guys, welcome to the 12 days of Bookmas day 2. Today I am wearing my Christmas jumper. Can you see it? It is a Christmas tree made out of books. I love it so much. Not the most flattering neckline, do we care? No. So the book I'm going to recommend today, I don't think I've seen anybody else recommend on the internet, which is quite interesting, but I think it's because it's maybe a slightly lesser known book. It hasn't necessarily set the social media world on fire, but that doesn't mean it's not an excellent book, and it's one that I think that you may want to put on your list for Christmas. So it is Time's Echo by Pamela Hartshorn. It's a beautiful cover, isn't it? And it's it's another historical fiction. I know, don't sue me. I am going to discuss other books, not just historical fiction for the 12 days of Bookmas. But this is one that I think, it's one of those books that stayed with me even after I've read it. And I think I first read it like probably 3 or 4 years ago at least. And I liked it so much I've actually tracked down an unbroken copy so that I can have it just in my permanent library because I love it so much. And let me read the blurb and then we'll talk about it a little bit more. It's set in York in 1577. Hawise ask, I do know that I'm pronouncing Hawise wrong, by the way. It's Hawise. Is it supposed to be Hawise or something like that? I've always pronounced it Hawise. I'm from Yorkshire. I'm going to continue. Hawise ask smiles at a stranger in the market and sets in train a story of obsession and sibling jealousy, of love and hate and warped desire. Drowned as a witch, Hawise pays a high price for that smile, but for a girl like her in Elizabethan York, there is nowhere to go and nowhere to hide. 4.5 centuries later, Grace True, who has travelled the world, is trying to outrun the memories of being caught up in the Boxing Day tsunami. Her stay in York is meant to be a brief one, but in York, Grace discovers that time can twist and turn in ways she never imagined. Drawn inexorably into Hawise's life, Grace finds that this time she cannot move on. Will she too be engulfed in the power of the past? Sounds so good, doesn't it? When I first read that blurb, I was like, right, sign me up. It's so good. I think because I'm from Yorkshire, I obviously know York very well, and I love York as a setting for books. There is a C.J. Sansom that's set in York, and it's just so evocative. I think because so much of this time period still exists in York's architecture, it feels like we can time travel when we go to York as well. So it's really beautifully set in York during the mid-16th century, and it's kind of the story of women and their position in history at that time. I know I probably sound like a broken record. I love me a bit of women's history, I can't help it. And so it kind of tells her story, but then there's the present with Grace as well. And I have to say, one of my favourite things about this book is how the time travel is handled. The way that Grace kind of falls through time back into the 16th century is just really beautiful. She has like these kind of dizzy spells. She's not quite sure what's going on. She's very confused. She's very scared. She finds it incredibly frightening. And I think that's something that sometimes is missed from time travel stories, is that kind of sense of fear of what happens if I can't get back to my own present time. And I think that that's really beautifully written in this book. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why it has stayed with me so long. Grace is a really likeable character. Hawise, really likeable character. But then there is this kind of cast of supporting people who obviously don't always have the best interests of the main characters at heart, and it's just really beautifully written. You know, we kind of go into York in the summer, so it's really, there's a little bit of romance thrown in there as well. It's kind of got a little bit of everything for a historical fiction novel, and yeah, it's kind of like history, but it's kind of a mystery and a fantasy as well. So if that sounds like your bag, then Time's Echo by Pamela Hartshorn is one for you to put on your Christmas wish list. And as with yesterday's, or not yesterday, the day before's, day 1 of Bookmas, I'm going to be adding every single book that I recommend onto a wish list on the website bookshop.org, which supports local bookshops, and all of the books will be available from that wish list. So you can either shop directly on bookshop.org, or you can send the link to your friends and family and say, these are the books that I want for Christmas. So yeah, that's day 2 of Bookmas, and I'll be back again with day 3 in a couple of days' time.